It seems to me clear that there have been major demographic shifts in the practice of religion in the United States.
Sure, the numbers show that Americans are less institutionally religious than they once were.
I would say Islam has challenges like every other faith, there's no doubt.
You can't deny that there's declining numbers of people interested in, I guess what you call organized religion or denominational religion.
At the moment, I think it is extremely difficult to assess that in terms of either decline or increase.
In many cases, there's a loss of faith, but I would say sometimes people's faith is sort of maybe not necessarily lost, but sort of put on the side.
No one has time left, actually, to keep the normal religious schedule, whether it is Christian or Judaic or Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist.
If I were someone involved in religion, I would think this would be just an amazing moment for innovation and ways of attracting particularly young people who want the experiences of song and music and body and community that we seem to be lacking.
Characteristics of millennials would be reluctance to trust institutions in general.
Institutional religion hasn't really been representative of the sorts of things that inspire millennials. This, is a period in which millennials are pushing back against institutional religion, and we'll see if institutional religions are able to adjust.
A generation of people that were not raised in the faith as strongly as the generation before that, those people now are parents.
The role of parents in religion is especially complex in the time in which we live.
There should be an inspiration for the youth to come to the mosque. And that inspiration has to come from the parents in the way that they connect to the children and inspire them.
When, of course, the fact is, if the children can see very plainly that they're being plopped at the doorstep of the church on Sunday and the parents are going elsewhere, they understand this is not an important activity.
Parents have, responsibility to sort of be able to see wisdom in their own tradition, to work on that, and then they have responsibilities, I think, to be able to see wisdom in traditions, other than their own.
Another particular problem in this area of the world is that once schools used to keep Sunday mornings free for their students to be able to go to church if they wish to.
Now, how they're presented in the schools, there's this myth of science versus religion, fueled mainly by, I think, a different brand of Christianity in this culture that perhaps is presented in schools, an antagonism between the two. But from a Catholic point of view, the science doesn't present a challenge to faith.
Well, science it brings a challenge. I think the challenge that science brings is good. The Quran encourages challenges.
They need to be understood as complementary, and that they've got, that they've got things to say to each other, but they operate on different terrain. There's a way, so I don't think it's a threat to religion, that science is pretty convinced that evolution is a fact, right? I don't think it's a threat to religion that geology has shown that the world is not, is billions of years old and not thousands of years old. Certainly, I guess, some religions that are committed to those views, that can be problematic, but religions have proven themselves to be pretty adaptable.
Well, I think there's a lot more information for people to get, and much easier than it used to be.
It is true that technology has become increasingly important right across the board in all forms of intellectual life, including in religion.
It may have some degree of negativity, but it also has a positive side also.
We can get in touch with each other without there being a mediating institution that is helping us manage our differences.
People seem that's to be the primary way of getting information now, and it's much more accessible than it ever was. However, it's also very unequal. You can get garbage online, you can get gold online, and it's kind of hard to sort out sometimes. It's not like the traditional media outlets where you knew this paper kind of had a reputation for being reliable, or it had a reputation for being to the left or to the right. Now you kind of just get what you get online, not knowing the background, not knowing where they're coming from, not knowing if they're reputable. And so in terms of that, you can get a lot of information, but the information isn't always good.
Everybody has their little iPads or all their devices, and everybody is focused. All the little kids are focused on those things. Adults come sometimes with their cell phones on, and maybe in a prayer service or something, and the cell phone goes off. So the technology has its way of getting in and I may say interfering or at least somehow impacting the effort of trying to handle faith matters of faith, no doubt about it. But on the opposite side, technology is quite beneficial because it allows us to gather religious material in an instant, to gather things together that may have taken people decades to put together in the past. Now we have it right at a fingertip. So it's maybe somewhat of a balance.
So I would say that creating an open environment socially and intellectually is basic to attracting new members, together with maintaining a steady focus on what it is that causes us to come to the first place, namely our common sense of the importance of worship.
I think what attracts people to a church are the people in that church. In other words, you know, if somebody's attracted to come to this church, it would be, I would hope, because they find the clergy open or the clergy intelligent and preaching meaningful sermons. I would hope that they would find the people to be welcoming, that there'd be things for families to do, young people to do, that it would be an active parish that way. They would be attracted to the people here. While a pope or a bishop or cardinal in our archdiocese can set a tone, it's a very important tone, what makes people come to a local church, a local parish, is the people in that parish and the clergy in that parish.
And what brought most of the people to Islam was the character of the Muslims. The character of the Muslims. How I treat my neighbor, how I treat the people that are in my workplace, how I treat the people in my neighborhood. If they understand my character and how I treat them, that strong moral character will attract people to look at, well, what is he about? Why is he like this? And it's because of the faith that he practices. It's, well, maybe let me take a look at it.
It's a moment of change for us, or challenge for us, or opportunity for us. You know, what's been can no longer be. We don't have the numbers to maintain what we used to have. What's going to happen is not clear yet either.
Challenges are not going to stop. Challenges are going to increase. The temptations that affect the people are going to increase. You know, no doubt about it.
But it's going to be a whole different set of main characters than what we've been used to, and I think that's really, you know, an exciting future to imagine.
I think the absolute numbers will increase, but there'll be a proportional decline. And the reason for that decline is that we will see an increase in practitioners of Islam and Judaism and Hinduism and Buddhism. It will bring about a change of organizations in a variety of ways. Some of those Christian denominations and Jewish denominations I mentioned earlier, over the next century might actually close down.
Along with that is great opportunity. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said there's some good in every situation.
God acts. God acts through remarkable people, sometimes ordinary people, and things happen that no one could have expected to happen. I do trust that there is something next. And the church might not look like it looked like 50 years ago or even like it looks like today, but there will, I have no doubt, be a church. There will be people celebrating the Eucharist together on Sundays. But what exactly that will look like in 100 years, I couldn't even guess. I just know there will be something.